Albatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects of AD or Alpha Dean. We have Spigs18 or Anthony. And Dean, what are we doing here today?
Well, as usual, we're here to talk Cypher System, and, as we do all the time. And tonight we're going to talk about the top 10 favorites or top 10 most used ciphers.
Foci.
Foci. What am I talking about? I'm losing my mind. But amazingly
that's next week's top 10.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just going to state right now, amazingly enough, a lot of what made the top 10, I've never even considered playing myself. But it's going to be an interesting discussion tonight. So, Anthony, you come on, do your thing, man. Let's get us going. We're ready to do this.
All right, so first and foremost, like Dean said, we're doing the top 10 most commonly used or favorite foci from across the Cypher Unlimited social medias. I want to say a special thank you, first and foremost, to everyone that participated in our survey. About a week and a half ago, we put it on Twitter, Facebook, and of course, the Cypher Unlimited Discord group, and we asked, everybody that would listen, give us your top 5 favorite foci, or if you're a forever GM, the top 5 foci that gets used at your table the most. And we had a total of 88 people that responded, which was awesome. That's a pretty decent sample size, I would guess, on short notice. And we also had 99 different foci receiving at least one vote, which is pretty cool too. I think that bodes well for the system, as a whole, because it's a diverse group of focus that appeals to different players for different reasons. So it helped us narrow it down to the 10 most commonly played. And I was surprised by this list before we even go into it. And I think Al and Dean were as well. So I think your guys might be surprised. But before we get into the top 10 list, there was 3 foci that were tied as honorable mentions. They each received 4 votes apiece. And so the 3 honorable mentions are drives like a maniac, doesn't do much, and hold on, let me pull up the last one.
Possesses the shard of the sun.
And possesses the shard of the sun. I actually like drives like a maniac. Doesn't do much. I've never played possesses the shard of the sun, but Dean told me it kicks ass. So I'll have to maybe play that one day. So what do you guys think of the 3 honorable mentions before we get started?
Honestly, with the 3 honorable mentions, I'm surprised they didn't make the top 10. Honestly,
Which one?
All 3 of them. Because drives like a maniac shows up in so many of my games.
That might be my fault.
Well, not just you.
It was in my top 5 as well, Al. My top 5.
Doesn't do much shows up. Now that's probably because of you, Al.
Yeah. So those 2 are definitely my top 5.
Possessors of the Shard of the Sun, I can actually speak to why that probably doesn't show up as much as everybody thinks, is because it's in one of the character option books that are no longer supported. But it is a kick-ass focus. I've made it a point to kind of keep it, around, especially if I'm running Numenera. It works excellent for Numenera, and it will work excellent for a sci-fi game or a superhero game. It is a kick-ass focus. So that's my thoughts on it.
Come to think of it, each one of these received 4 votes apiece, and of course the 3 of us all gave our top 5. And I know for a fact that me and Al both put drives like a maniac in our top 5, so we counted for half of the.
Yes. I mean, those foci are just a lot of fun. I think doesn't do much was literally the first focus I ever played in Cypher System as the Shaggy character in in that game, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, let's just jump right into it here with number 10.
Yeah.
So at number 10 with 7 votes, we have Master's Weaponry. And it says, you are a master user of a particular type of weapon, be it a sword, whip, dagger, gun, or something else. On the surface, pretty straightforward. You're just really good at using your weapon.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to break down each tier so we could actually see why these, maybe figure out why these things made the top 10 list.
And I will say before diving into the tiers that I was surprised to see this one, and this is one of the ones I was surprised to see at the top 10. Mostly because it seems like a very like dungeon crawly, like combat focused thing, which again I don't consider much when I think of Cypher System. But yeah, the fact that it's top 10, this is really cool. But at tier 1, oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say, but we could discuss it at the end after you break down.
All right, so tier 1, you get Weapon Master, and this is on page 197 of the CSR, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I wouldn't even. I know I put them on the notes.
oh, the pages,
Yeah, but don't give the page references because
it's different books and
I got
stuff.
them from different
Yeah,
books.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So I won't be mentioning those going forward. But either way, at tier 1, you get the ability Weapon Master. Says you inflict an additional 1 point of damage with your chosen weapon. It's an enabler, just always is. Makes sense for tier 1. You also get Weapon Crafter. And you are trained in crafting tasks associated with your chosen weapon. For instance, if your weapon is a bow, you're trained in tasks related to crafting bows and fletching arrows. If your weapon is a sword, you're trained in tasks in forging swords and sharpening blades, and so on. Also an enabler, just always there. Makes sense. If you're a master of your weapon, you must be able to upkeep it, right?
Right.
Really nice flavoring on that additional skill set.
The other thing what I like about it too is if you really think about it, it's excellent for, you know, the other side. We're talking about the narrative side. That's like, you know, my character is a blacksmith, or my character, you know, is a bowyer, you know, which is kind of cool too. You get to add that, you know, aspect or profession, if you will, to your character based on that ideology, if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You know.
Just keep going at it. You want me to do the whole tier list?
Yeah.
All right, so tier 2, you get weapon defense. Again, these first 2 tiers are really hardening up on your combat stuff. So weapon defense, while your chosen weapon is in your hand or hands, if it's a two-hander, you are trained in speed defense rolls. Enabler. Pretty straightforward. You're just better at dodging stuff when you have your weapon in your hands. Makes sense. You're flowing with your weapon. Again, nice and flavorful, and also keeping you very, you know, combat ready. Not too much to really talk about there. It's pretty straightforward. Tier 3, you get rapid attack or disarming strike, because you get a choice at tier 3. So a rapid attack costs 3 speed points, and once per round you can make an additional attack with your chosen weapon. Very strong. Or you can choose disarming strike, same cost, 3 speed points, and it says your attack inflicts 1 point less damage and disarms your foe so that their weapon is now 10 feet away on the ground. If your chosen weapon is a whip, you can instead deposit the disarmed weapon into your hands. If your chosen weapon is a bow or other ranged weapon that fires physical rounds, you can instead nail the disarmed weapon to a nearby object or structure. Choosing to do either of these hinders your attack. And this is an action. That's pretty sweet, and honestly, it's probably the one I'd choose, because I like being like more like disruptive than just doing outright killing things. And again, the other one, rapid attack, you're just attacking twice. Like if you want to be a combat dude, that's the one you're going for. Just pop, pop, you're attacking everything. Not really too much to say here. Again, I would be choosing disarming strike in this situation. Seems more interesting to me. Y'all got any comments on these ones?
I figured you read through the whole thing and then we'll discuss.
At the end? Oh, okay, gotcha. Not per, okay. So, tier 4, you get Never Fumble. Never Fumble. If you roll a natural 1 when attacking with your chosen weapon, you can ignore and countermand the GM intrusion for that roll. You can never be disarmed of your chosen weapon, nor will you ever drop it accidentally. Enabler. Alright, that's interesting. Tier 5, Extreme Mastery. This costs 6 might or 6 speed points. When using your chosen weapon, you can roll any attack roll you wish and take the better of two roll results. Wait, what? This is...
It's like advantage on
it's
attack.
worded funny. Yeah, that's just worded funny. But you get to roll 2 dice and choose the better number. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Tier 6, which we just mentioned off camera, which is really amazing, is called Murderer or Deadly Strike. Or excuse me, you choose here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is 2 different ones. It is, sorry. So you choose Murderer or Deadly Strike. Murderer is 8 plus speed points. With a swift and sudden attack, you strike your foe in a vital spot. If the target is level 4 or lower, it is killed outright. For each additional level of effort you apply, you can increase the level of the target by 1. That's an action. Or you can choose Deadly Strike, which costs 5 might points. If you strike a foe of level 3 or lower with the weapon you're practiced with, you kill the target instantly. Action. And there's some suggested GM intrusions for the player foci, which is like you break the weapon that you're attacking, weapons can be stolen, weapons can be dropped or forced out of your hand.
Yeah. I noticed from doing this, from writing out, that the GM intrusions, a lot of them are like it's the obvious stupid intrusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
I was gonna go first. I know that Al said that he was surprised by this, and I was initially as well. But when I started like going through the tier list, I'm not surprised at all, because this focus really fits every genre that Monte Cook Games makes. Like, this fits in Numenera, The Strange, all 7 setting books of the Worlds of Cypher books. Like, I could see a character in my head for every single one of those settings. So I'm not totally surprised anymore that this made the top 10.
As far as this making the top 10, I'm not surprised either, because even though Cypher System isn't necessarily focused on combat or anything like that, it is a role-playing game, and conflict happens. And 9 times out of 10, depending on whatever game you're playing, whatever setting, you're always going to have at least that one guy that wants to play the ass kicker, and for this particular focus, this leans into the idea of an ass kicker. I mean, it's a beautiful focus. The one thing I can say that surprised me about it, though, was the never fumble at tier 4.
Yeah.
That's a hell of an ability, because basically you don't even pay anything to counterman the GM intrusion. You don't have to give up an XP or nothing. You just like, it didn't happen.
I mean, let's keep it for reals. From tier 3 on, this is pretty kick-ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Like, just the wording on never fumble as I read it was so weird, because again, I read it as what you described. Like, if you're attacking with your weapon, if you roll, you can't roll a 1, literally. Like, you don't get GM intrusions when you're attacking with your weapon, which is kind of wild.
Oh, how about this? You get never fumble tier 3. I'll take either Disarming Strike or Rapid Attack. But off the top of my head, Rapid Attack, you get to attack twice for 3 speed points.
It's basically free.
Who's not going to do that?
Yeah,
I mean, again, personally, I like being disruptive with my character, so I definitely would be going for Disarming Strike.
I personally look at it like Legolas. The 2 quick shots.
Right, and I'm looking at it too, though, as with Disarming Strike. Either one, it would really depend on the flavor of the character. Because Disarming Strike is badass. Think about it. I mean, you just shoot the dude's weapon out of his hand,
or just smack their weapon like this.
Or if you got, like you said, if you got a whip or something like that, you snatch his weapon out of his hand, and now you got it.
It's not cool.
Tier 5, you basically get advantage on any roll for 6 points of a pool.
Yep.
Which is a good, and then tier 6 is ridiculous.
Either one.
Murderer, just murderer straight up. So I see why Deadly Strike is an option if you don't want to go out, waste all your points or whatever. But murderer, just at tier 6, you can use 6 points of 6 levels of effort. It's gonna cost you a hell of a lot of points, but you can outright kill a level 12 enemy, just dead. No, just it dies.
Basically.
I got a quick question. Let me see it. Oh, Rapid Attack is an enabler ability, right? Oh no, it's once per round. I will say, Rapid Attack is an enabler ability. You can shoot twice. So if you use a murderer,
right?
Points.
You could basically like drain your pool
and kill 2 things.
Murder 2 people.
One run, bad dead. But you'll be tired as fuck afterwards. But you can do it.
You might even be hindered. But yeah,
you might drop down the damage track a little bit. But
this I could definitely see why this folk guy kicks ass.
At high levels, definitely yes.
And I could see it fits every genre.
Exactly.
Yeah, easily, yeah.
Yeah,
The
so
tag.
I can
I
definitely
mean,
see why I made the top 10.
and just so everybody knows, that's one of the foci that I have played and have seen a lot. So that's
Yeah.
one of the couple that made my list. Um,
So what does chat think about number 10 on the list? Were you surprised? And while chat puts in there, Dean, you want to start number 9?
Absolutely. Where did my? Oh, there you go. So exists partially out of phase. This one is not surprising at
How many
all.
votes did it get, Dean?
It got 10 votes. 10. Wow, that's big, and it's not a surprise to me at all. Basically, it says a bit translucent. You're slightly out of phase and can move through solid objects. At tier 1, you can walk through walls for 2 intellect points. You can slowly pass through physical barriers at a rate of 1 inch per round minimum, and it's 2.5 centimeters for those into the metric system. Minimum 1 round passes through any barrier. You can act on you can't act other than moving or perceive anything until you pass entirely through the barrier. You can't pass through energy barriers. It's an action to initiate. Tier 2 is defensive phasing. You can change your phase so that some attacks pass through you harmlessly. For the next 10 minutes, you gain an asset on your speed defense task, but during this time, you lose any benefit from your armor you wear. It takes an action to initiate this one.
That costs 2 intellect points, right?
Yeah, 2 intellect points. Phased attack is 3 intellect points, or phased door, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you can choose between those two. Phased attack. This attack you make on this turn ignores your foe's armor. The ability works for whatever kind of attack you use, melee, ranged, energy, and so on, which is an enabler. Phase door is you can phase into a solid object surface and then phase out of any other object within long range of the first, even if the two objects are not connected. There must be no intervening barriers between the two objects, and you must be aware or be able to see the destination object. It says an action to initiate. And I hope I said it was 4 intellect points for that one. At tier 4, Ghost, 4 intellect points. For the next 10 minutes, you gain an asset on sneaking tasks. During this time, you can move through solid barriers, but not energy barriers, at a rate of 1 foot, 30 centimeters per round. And you can perceive while phased within the barrier object, which allows you to peek through walls. This also takes an action to initiate. At tier 5, you can gain the Untouchable ability, which costs you 6 intellect points. You change your phase state for the next minute so that you can't affect or be affected by normal matter or energy. Only mental attacks and special transdimensional energies or devices or abilities can affect you. But likewise, you can't attack, touch, or otherwise affect anything either. It's an action to initiate this one. At tier 6, you get enhanced phase attack or phase foe. Enhanced phase attack costs 5 intellect points. This ability works like phase attack ability, except that your attack also disrupts the foe's vitals, dealing an additional 5 points of damage, and it's an enabler. Phase of foe, you gather disrupting energy in your fingertips, touch a creature. If the target is an NPC or creature level of 3 or lower, it becomes phased as if you have used the ghost ability. However, unless it can figure out how to control its movement while being phased, which most creatures have no experience with, it begins to sink through solid matter. If it can't control itself or end, it might be gone for good, because when it becomes solid again after 10 minutes, it's probably deep in the earth. For each additional level of effort you apply, you can attempt to affect targets 1 level higher. It's an action to initiate. The GM intrusion here, the character is sent phasing into an unexpected dimension. The character becomes lost in a large solid. So my thoughts overall, real quick on this one, is this is another pretty damn good one. Never used it. I've seen lots of people take it. Some of those higher tier abilities, again, yeah, they become quite kick-ass. So,
I mean, this is very Numenera to me and Supers off the top of my head. You know, Vision, Kitty Pryde from the X-Men, they all have similar abilities. It definitely fits Numenera. It definitely fits the Strange, depending on, what you call it or what world you're in. But I could definitely. I want to play this actually.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I was gonna say that phase door is really cool to me. The ghost ability is really cool to me. I had a question about the untouchable. The only thing that I don't really like, since it's an action to initiate and you can't attack, you can't turn it off and on at will to be able to attack. You know what I mean?
That might be something you modify, you know. Like
Yeah, with power shifts or something.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about Cypher System.
Yeah.
And when you get your hands on Claim the Sky and you see about power stunts, you're really gonna dig it.
very excited.
Yeah,
for
but
that.
I could definitely. I think I want to pick this for our next Supers game because I could definitely think of there's a lot of creative uses to having this ability.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and phase foe just sounds brutal. You basically send them to the center of the earth, like goodbye. Like you definitely don't know how to control this. Goodbye.
Right.
That's a good question. Out of tier 6, off the top of your head, without knowing like a character, like concept, which would you pick? Phase 4 or enhanced phase attack?
Phase foe for sure.
I would probably take phase 4 myself.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Just this enhanced phase attack is 5 points in addition to whatever damage you're doing. It's not.
Oh, I know that's beefy, but the idea of phasing a foe, what gets me is think of it this way: even if I, hit a character, depending on we might be fighting a big boss or whatever, and you hit him, he might have 60 hit points. It might be the first attack of the round or whatever. Phasing his behind and just boom, you're gone.
He's
You're
just
done.
gone. Like it's such a big problem solver compared to like trying to whittle something down. You could just be like goodbye. And again, with the
also
phrase,
worth noting that it ignores all armor.
Exactly.
what you call it? What I was gonna say was you can also use phase foe in interesting ways. Again, it doesn't specifically say you can dispel it like at will, but a clever player could be like, hey, if I give you one, XP for a player intrusion, can I phase this guy partially through the ground? He's just stuck halfway, and now we can interrogate him. Like we can do interesting stuff with phase foe, with player intrusions, rolling will a clever imagination, which again I sort of lean towards more so than just doing more damage or something like that.
I look at it the other way. Like I look at it like Marvel's, like the Avengers. You keep on face foeing a friend, ally, to the point that they get used to it, and you could like hide your Hulk character behind a wall. Your super strong character, he just appears out of nowhere. It's combat time.
And I can say that much. That's the whole concept of power stunts. It's pretty freaking cool.
It's actually a very cool application of this one. Just hide a buddy in the wall. He just pops out.
That's what I'm saying. It's so many cool aspects to it. But dudes, like I said, it's a good focus, and crazy enough, like I said, that's one that I've never used.
I was actually shocked that it was on this list, but like with every other one that made this top 10 list, I wasn't shocked after
after you go over it, when you look at it, you're absolutely right.
All right, so are you guys ready to move on to number 8? And chat, what do you guys think? Have you ever used this focus, and what do you think about it? And I'm gonna go to number 8 while chat discusses. But number 8 with a total of 14 votes was another one that I did not think was gonna make this list. But it's here at number 8. Talks to machines. You use your organic brain like a computer, interfacing wirelessly with any electronic device. You can control or influence them in ways that others can't. Tier 1, you get a machine affinity. You are trained in tasks involving electrical machines. That's pretty easy enough. In Tier 1, you also get distant interface. It costs 2 intellect points. You can activate, deactivate, or control a machine at long range if it was next to you, even if normally you would have to touch or manually operate it. If you have never interacted with this particular machine before, the task is hindered by 2 steps. To use this ability, you must understand the function of the machine. It must be your size or smaller and can't be connected to another intelligent or be intelligent itself. It's an action. You also get a tier 2 coaxing power. It costs 2 intellect points. You could boost the power or function of a machine so it operates at one level higher than normal for 1 hour. That's an action. At tier 2, you also get charm machine. It costs 2 intellect points. You could convince an unintelligent machine to like you. This is pretty, I like this one. A machine that likes you is 50% likely to function if said function will cause you harm. If a foe attempts to detonate a bomb near you, controlled by a detonator that likes you, there's a 50% chance it won't explode. There's just something about that ability that makes me smile. Tier 3, you have a choice, like always in tier 3. You get intelligent interface or command machine. Intelligent interface is 3 intellect points, and you can speak telepathically to any intelligent machine within long range. Further, you are trained in all interactions with intelligent machines. Such machines and robots that normally would never communicate with a human talk to you now. It's an enabler ability. Pretty straightforward. Command machine costs 4 intellect points. If you're charmed an unintelligent machine or have spoken telepathically with an intelligent machine, you can attempt to command it or take 1 action within its capabilities on its next turn. If you use this ability to command an intelligent machine, it likely becomes hostile towards you afterwards. It's an action. Tier 4. I've noticed that this one gets a lot of abilities in every tier. Tier 4, you get Machine Companion. You create a level 3 inanimate intelligent machine that accompanies accompanies you and acts as you direct. As a level 3 Machine Companion, it has a target number of 9, a health of 9, and inflicts 3 points of damage. If destroyed, it takes you 1 month to create a new one. That's pretty cool. Robot Fighter. Robot Fighter, when fighting a robot or intelligent machine, you're trained in attacks and defense, which is both, which is pretty cool. Tier 5, you get Information Gathering. It costs 5 intellect points. You can speak telepathically to any or all machines within 1 mile. You can ask 1 basic question about themselves or anything happening near them and receive a simple answer. For example, while in an area with many machines, you can ask about the location of a specific creature or individual. And if they are within a mile from you, 1 or more machines will probably provide the action. Tier 6, you get Control Machine or Improved Machine Companion. Control Machine is 6 intellect points. You can attempt to control the function of any machine, intelligent or otherwise, within short range for 10 minutes. It's an action. Improved Machine Companion. The machine from your Machine Companion abilities improves to a level 5 creature with the ability either to fly a long distance each round and carry you for up to 10 minutes. Yes, please, sign me up. Or carry an extra cipher for you that doesn't count against your cipher limit. Why would that even be a choice?
For real.
Fly me around and carry me, please.
Extra ciphers, yeah.
The GM intrusions or the machine malfunctions or acts unpredictably. Off the top of my head, I can see why this made the list.
Yeah.
Because you get a crap load of abilities. It seemed like every tier gave you 2 or 3 abilities.
Yeah,
Well,
so
not just a crap load. I'm not looking at it. It's just the quality of the abilities. This is, to me, this is also very Numenera.
Yes.
This screams Numenera. Or
very
any,
cyberpunk.
Or any, that's what I was about to say. If I wanted to run a cyberpunk game or, some sci-fi game that had interfacing and all that, this would be a go-to. This is a damn good Foci overall. I mean, complete, well thought out. Every tier is actionable. I dig it. I dig it a lot. Never used it, but I will.
I could also see this in pretty much any sci-fi game. I could see this in Star Wars as a force power.
Oh yeah, or not just a force power, but just think, you could, if somebody wanted to play a droid, the droid could have that. It could be a droid's ability. You know, like R2D2 interfaces with everything anyway, not just giving the ability to do it from a distance.
Yeah.
And the first thing I think of when you mention Star Wars, because I think of just because I don't know anything about Star Wars, I think about dumb shit. Now I'm thinking about a Jedi mechanic. He's just a mechanic who happens to become a Jedi because he's such a good mechanic.
But that's Luke Skywalker.
I guess you're right. Oh man, but
Yeah,
this is
I never played this, but
looks fun.
I do think that this is I could see why this was high on the list and why a lot of Numenera and why this gets picked a lot in a lot of Numenera games, because it's helpful in so many ways. And I also just, you know, they had me at a machine companion.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Anytime they introduces a companion mechanic, I'm all over it. Like, I love that stuff. I love having a little buddy that I could describe, whatever have you. It gets into hijinks. It's always fun to have a little buddy. Yeah.
This next one, Al, this is yours, but this next one, I'm totally blown away that this is on the list.
I'm not. This is one I'm definitely not surprised by. At number 7, we have Entertained, and that one got. Actually, I'm surprised at the number of votes though. 17 votes, which is again pretty decent amount of votes. And we can talk about why we're surprised, not surprised at the end. But let's just go over the tier abilities like we've been doing. So and the little description of the focus is you perform mostly for the benefit of others. Pretty straightforward. Tier 1, you get levity. Levity. Through wit, charm, humor, and grace, you are trained in all social interactions other than those involving coercion or intimidation. During rest, you put your friends and comrades at ease so much that they gain +1 to the recovery rolls. That's an enabler. Just happens all the time. Really nice. Tier 2, you get inspiration. And inspiration costs 6 intellect points. Wow, that's a lot for tier 2. What? Either way, you speak words
I thought so too.
You speak words of encouragement and inspiration. All allies within short range who can hear you immediately gain a recovery roll, gain an immediate free action, and have an asset for that free act. The recovery roll does not count as one of their normal recovery rolls. Action.
That's why it's 6 points.
Bruh, like, we'll talk about more of it. It's just tier 3, you get either knowledge skills or greater enhanced potential. Knowledge skills, just like most of the time when you pick it up, you're trained in 2 skills of which you are not already trained. Choose 2 areas of knowledge such as history, geography, archaeology, blah blah blah. You can select this ability multiple times, but each time you select it, you must choose 2 different skills. Just normal skill training shit. And then you can also choose greater enhanced potential. You gain 6 points to divide amongst your stats pools, however you wish. That's pretty nice. Make yourself beefier or whatever. Tier 4, you get Calm. Calm costs 3 intellect points. Through jokes, songs, or other art, you prevent a living foe from attacking anyone or anything for 1 round. Tier 5, you get Able Assistance. Able Assistance. When you help someone with a task and they apply a level of effort, they get a free level of effort on that task. It's enabler. And then at tier 6, you can choose between Master Entertainer or Vindictive Performance. I'm already loving that name. So, Master Entertainer, your inspiration ability works more effectively, easing your friend's task by 2 steps rather than 1. Enabler, that's big. But Vindictive Performance costs 5 intellect points. When you tell a joke, perform a song or poem, draw a picture, relate an anecdote, or otherwise provide entertainment, you can select 1 individual from the audience who is able to understand you. During your performance, you heap indirect but biting derision on this target. If you succeed, the target does not realize they've become the victim of your performance until you wrap up the entertainment at a moment you choose in a way that strikes home. The target suffers 6 points of intellect damage, ignores armor, and loses their next turn. 1 or more actions to initiate.
Wow.
And then the suggested GM intrusions for this focus are the audience annoyed or offended, the musical instrument breaks, the paint dries in their pots, the words or the poem to the song are forgotten, etc. So I don't know if this was retooled between the original CS book, Cypher System book, and the revised book, because I do not recall inspiration at all. That seems really good.
But if you notice, I think most people that get to tier 3, they take the enhanced potential to add all those points to intellect. So
Yes.
they can
Keep using, yes, exactly. This is actually, again, just to hark back to what we were saying before when we mentioned, like, were we surprised, were we not surprised? I don't know how you could be surprised, Dean, considering that Entertained is like the bard. Like, if anybody wants to play a bard, they're going to pick Entertained. Like,
But that's the whole point. I guess with Cypher, honestly, I've had somebody play bards. I've never had anybody take Entertained.
It's actually the opposite of me. I think I've had this like 3 times.
Wow.
I personally haven't seen it in any of my games.
Somebody play a rocker character. They were using Entertain.
I think the bard, the quote-unquote bard focus I saw most in my games, and I'm not sure if it's on this list, was plays a deadly instrument.
Yep,
that's the one I've seen the most.
That's
like in my personal games.
I've seen plays a deadly instrument more often because normally people who play a bard in my game are playing a speaker anyway. Then they'll take plays a deadly instrument, because they get a form of inspiration and all that from the speaker abilities. But I've actually had not Adored by Millions Adalisk. I've actually had that in my games as well.
We had that in one of our stream games in our.
Yeah, I know. I think
that's the one that comes with like the groupies, right?
Yeah, that's something that comes with your entourage.
But just to go back before we get too sidetracked, this focus is actually incredible. Like, this is amazing. Just at tier 2, I mean, it's gonna be rough on your character to use this at 6 intellect points, but it does so much stuff.
Yeah. You know what gets me about this is that everyone gets an immediate free action.
Yeah, that's wild.
Everyone act first, and then you do this, and they can act again.
And then we get a free
asset
recovery roll.
That too. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's awesome.
It seems almost broken to again, it's not broken because of high cost, but it does. I feel like at this early should be 3 intellect points and you choose one of these things. You know what I mean?
If you take the tier 6
enhanced one,
it improves it even more.
Yeah, and you get 2 assets towards that free action, which is it's insane.
Here's the cool thing about this, by us doing this top 10. Yeah, we've got some. We're gonna have some new foci to explore and some new characters to build, boy.
For sure.
Because this is pretty nasty. But
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I always liked Entertained. I knew this one was actually pretty good. I wasn't surprised that this one made the list because I think this is one of the more OP.
It seems very strong.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it's like supporty, which again, some people don't like being supporty, you know what I mean? So it has to be like a player preference, but very strong support.
And moving on to the next one.
Oh, hold on, before you go, but did anyone get this just on D&D? Vindictive Performance is basically a high-powered vicious mockery.
Yes.
From the
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
That's the first thing I thought was vicious mockery.
Yeah. And Able Assistance is a cool ability as well. You get a free level of effort.
At the end of the day, when I'm looking at this whole list, it's pretty solid all the way around.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next one, which definitely was not a surprise to me, was no need for weapons. Powerful kicks, powerful punches, kicks,
how many votes did it get?
Excuse me?
How many votes did it get?
Oh, 19 votes. So it was up there on the list. So powerful punches, kicks, elbows, knees, full body movements are all the weapons you need. At tier 1, you get Fist of Fury. Fist of Fury, you inflict 2 additional points of damage with unarmed attacks, enabler. You also get Flesh of Stone. Flesh of Stone, you have a +1 armor if you do not wear physical armor, which is also an enabler. At tier 2, advantage to disadvantage. Advantage and disadvantage cost 3 speed points. With a number of quick moves, you make an attack against an armed foe, inflicting damage, disarming them so that their weapon is now in your hands or 10 feet away on the ground, your choice. The disarming attack is hindered. It's an action to initiate. At tier 2, you also pick an unarmed fighting style. You're trained in unarmed attacks. It's an enabler. Tier 3, move like water or greater enhanced potential. So move like water. You spin and move so that your defense and attacks are aided by your fluid motion. For 1 minute, all your attacks and speed defense tasks gain an asset. Greater enhanced potential. You gain 6 points to divide among your stat pools however you wish. At tier 4, divert attacks. For 1 minute, you automatically deflect or dodge any ranged projectile attacks. However, on your next turn after you're attacked with ranged projectiles, all of your other actions are hindered, is an action to initiate. Tier 5, stun attack. It costs 6 speed points. You attempt a difficulty 5 speed task to stun a creature as part of your melee or ranged attack. If you succeed, your attack inflicts its normal damage and stuns the creature for 1 round, causing it to lose its next turn. If you fail, you still make your normal attack roll, but you don't stun the opponent if you hit. If you also have this ability from another source, such as having it as a type ability and a focus ability, using this costs you only 3 points instead of 6 points. It's an action to initiate. At tier 6, you got Master of Unarmed Fighting Style or Lethal Damage. Master of Unarmed Fighting Style, you are specialized in unarmed attacks, and if you are already specialized in unarmed attacks, you instead deal 2 additional points of damage with your unarmed attack. It's an enabler. Lethal damage. Choose one of your existing attacks that inflicts points of damage. Depending on your type and focus, this might be a specific weapon, a special ability such as a blast of fire, or your unarmed attacks. When you hit with that attack, you inflict an additional 5 points of damage. It's an enabler. Suggested gym intrusion. Striking certain foes hurts you as much as it hurts them. Opponents with weapons have a greater reach. Complicated martial arts moves can knock you off balance. So basically, yeah, I've seen this 1,000 times, used it many times myself. I mean, this is your classic monk, martial artist type character. It builds on everything. Of course, starting out that additional 2 points of damage, you add that into, especially if you take a warrior, add that into a warrior's no need for weapons as well. That's 6 points of damage at first level, and it's a medium attack. That's like crazy. Then of course you get armor, natural armor at first level as well, or first tier as well. It's just a lot of fun. It makes sense.
Yeah, I could definitely. Oh, yeah.
Okay, now.
No, I was just saying it definitely makes sense that it's on this list. I personally haven't played it much because the warrior just has no need for weapons or whatever their regular ability is. So I don't. Whenever I think of a monk, I just think of more just using the warrior, like type, and then building off that with whatever focus or whatever like specialty I feel like my monk would have. But this focus is actually super cool. Like, it. Again, what Dean said, it's like the monk. Like, if you want to be like the monk, you would play this guy, or like a martial artist. Like, I can see why this is at the top of the list, or not in the top 10, because if someone wants to play martial artist, monk, this is like so straightforward and easy to use.
I like the two of you. I'm not surprised at all this made the top 10 list. I've played this actually. I think this is probably the one focus that I've played more than once on this list. So I definitely see the need. Everybody likes no need for weapons. It makes sense in a lot of genres, not only martial arts. It really makes sense in superhero games.
Oh yeah.
The Hulk, the Thing. You can name a whole bunch of superheroes that this, Foci, reaches. Right? I see it makes sense in a lot of the other settings. Not only Numenera makes sense, but I could see it in Predation. I could see it in pretty much all the settings.
Absolutely, without even much effort to get it there.
And let's just go over some of the abilities. You getting a +1 to armor at tier 1. Who doesn't like to be beefy? You know what I mean? And then you train in all unarmed attacks at tier 2. Like everything in here is just basically I'm gonna kick your butt with my fists and feet, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Wait. What was the thing from the TPK games? I'm gonna kick bones out of asses.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick a bone out your ass.
That's what this focuses.
Yeah,
What's funny too, though, would you make a good point? At, I mean, because when you think about like tier 6 is sick. I mean, master of unarmed fighting style, so you can either be specialized, and if you've already found a way to be specialized, you get to add an additional 2 points of damage. So no matter where your damage, that's like ugly. But then lethal damage, you know, you get to add that to one of your attacks. Man, you know, that's,
you know what I like about a master? It doesn't state which style. It's no matter what. You could poke somebody and deal 2 additional point damage.
As long as
like
it's your hand.
go back to weapon mastery, is like choose an attack. This one is just whatever you do, you know.
right. You know, if it's your unarmed fighting style, you know, look, I'm gonna pluck his eyes out. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a fun combat focus.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised this one was on the list.
Yeah, not
Yeah, me
surprising.
Are you guys ready for? I was surprised this was on the list.
I'm
Now
not.
we're moving into the top 5.
Yeah.
Top 5 here.
So at number 5 was Employs Magnetism with 20 votes.
Wow.
And we're playing in Claire's game, tomorrow's live stream Numenera game, and this is the focus I'm using. And I'm not gonna lie, I got the like inkling to use this focus from counting everybody's votes. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So it got a total of 20 votes, and at tier 1 you have Move Metal. It costs 1 intellect point. You can exert force on metal objects within short range for 1 round. Once activated, your power has an effective might pool of 10, and might edge of 1, and an effort of 2. Approximately equal to the strength of a fit, capable adult human. You can use it to move metal objects, push against metal objects, and so on. For example, in your round, you can lift and pull a light metal object anywhere within range to yourself, or move a heavy object like a piece of furniture about 10 feet. This power lacks the fine control to wield a weapon or move objects with much speed. So in most situations, it's not a means to attack. You can't use this ability on your own body. This power lasts for 1 hour or until the might pool is depleted, whichever comes first. It's an action. Tier 2, you have Repel Metal. By manipulating magnetism, you are trained in speed defense attacks against any incoming attack that uses metal. I already know how I'm going to flavor this in our game tomorrow. I think that's cool. But tier 3, you have a choice like always. You have Destroy Metal or Guide Bolt. Destroy Metal is 3 intellect points. You instantly tear, rip, or burst a metal object that's within sight, within a short range, and no bigger than half your size. Attempt an intellect task to destroy the object. This task is eased by 3 steps compared to breaking it with boost strength. Action. Wow. That's really good.
That's nasty.
Guide Bolt. When you make an attack with a metallic bolt or metal tip arrow on a target within short range, this costs 4 intellect points, by the way, you can improve the attack's aim and velocity, which grants an asset to the attack and inflicts an additional 2 points of damage. If you apply a level of effort, you grant the same benefits to a range attack made by an ally within immediate range. In any case, you can use this ability once per round, Enabler. Tier 4, you have Magnetic Field. It costs 4 intellect points. When you wish it, a field of magnetism around you pulls incoming ranged metallic projectile attacks, such as arrows, bullets, or throw metal knives and so on to the ground. You are immune to such attacks for 1 round. You must be aware of an attack to foil it. This is the Magneto. You know, everybody see Magneto. They fire bullets at Magneto. He raises his arm. All the bullets freeze and drop to the ground.
Magneto, Neo.
Yeah, yeah, Neo as well. Yeah, tier 5, command metal. Command, it costs 5 intellect points. You can reshape a metallic item as you desire. The item must be within sight and short range, and its mass could be no greater than your own. You can affect multiple items at once as long as the combined mass falls within these limits. You can fuse multiple items together. You can use this power to destroy a metal object as the destroy metal ability, or you could craft it into another desired shape. That's awesome. Unless you have the unless you have the proper crafting skills. You could then move the new object anywhere within range. For example, you could take a few metal shields, fuse them together, excuse me, and use the resulting shape to block a doorway. You could use this ability to make an attack, causing a foe's armor to constrict, rendering a metal item into shards that you fling across the battlefield and so on, against one target within short range. Regardless of the form of the attack, it is an intellect action that deals 7 points of damage. This is ridiculous. I really like that. Tier 6, Demagnetism and Iron Punch. I don't see a cost for this. Maybe it doesn't have one. It's free. Demagnetism. You magnetize any non-metallic object within short range so that it can be affected by other magnetic powers. Thus, with move metal. You can move any object with repel metal. You are trained in all speed defense tasks, regardless of whether the incoming attack uses a metal or so on. Oh, this is actually really cool.
So anything that gets close to you becomes magnetized. There's no cost. It just always happens. That's
and then
cool.
You can use all.
It's gonna be within short range. You can magnetize. You can make it.
And then you can use your other abilities to throw it around, crush it, or whatever.
Even if it's not metal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Iron Punch. It costs 5 intellect points. You magnetically pick up a metallic heavy object within short range and hurl it at someone within short range. An intellect action that deals 6 points of damage to that target until the hurled object. For an additional level of effort applied, you can pick up a slightly larger object, allowing you to affect one additional target within short range as long as it's next to the prior target. Oh, that's ridiculous. If you know in tier 4, when you have like 4 levels of effort, you can hit 4 different targets. You know, like
for 6, yeah. Like,
but basically, what you would do is like it's like picking up a big ass like beam and just throwing it at 4 people, and you get all 4 of them. Or better yet, think about it. That one where you can constrict the body, their armor. Just like grab them, somebody in a big suit of armor, and throw him at 2 guys. Get over there.
It's definitely a wildly practical focus, and definitely seems like I've never played it myself, but it looks like a lot of fun.
Well, I'm playing it tomorrow, and I'm happy that Claire hopped on from Infinite Construct, because at 10 p.m. tomorrow on Infinite Construct's Twitch stream, come check us out. We're gonna drive Claire crazy. She'll probably quit the game halfway through, but I don't think they've ever played with us 3 idiots on the stream.
Well, she played GM Roulette. I mean, they played GM Roulette with us.
Oh yeah.
They played that. With it.
Hold on, let me do my advertisement first. Come check us out. Did Claire post it? Claire, can you?
Yeah,
Claire did post it. Yeah. Go to that Twitch stream tomorrow, 10 p.m. tomorrow. We're gonna Eastern. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be an awesome adventure, and you can watch me play this focus there. And I'm super excited to play. What are you guys' thoughts on Deploys Magnetism?
I think we've already said we all think it's pretty damn solid. That's a beefcake right there, boy.
Yeah, sorry. I was typing in the chat a response to a question.
The one thing I can say about this focus, and probably what I can say about all the focuses, the foci that we've talked about so far, I guess the reason why I kind of glazed over them is because of just what they were. Employs Magnetism, I don't want to be Magneto. I'm always trying to see if I can find something that was a little bit more obscure. You know, the ones that I did look at that I knew would people would use would be like, you know, needs no weapon or master's weaponry, and that's because, you know, again, thinking about specific ideas or the type of character I wanted to run in a particular game. But these foci just are really, you know, changing my perspective and making me look at this whole top 10 list in another light.
I mean, I'm not surprised that this is in the top 5 because one thing I think is a theme that I never really thought about prior to calculating, you know, all the votes. And this is another focus that really fits multiple genres, and more importantly, it fits Numenera because most of the people that voted were playing Numenera. So this is another one that is very Numenera-like, makes a lot of sense. So I could definitely see why I got 20 votes to begin with.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
moving along.
As we move on to the next one, as Al moves on, I literally cannot help myself. I have to run to the bathroom. I can hear what's going on. Al's going to read the stuff anyway, so we know what's going on, and I'll be ready to make comments as necessary. I will be right back.
No biggie, because again, it will take a little bit to read all the abilities and whatnot. But yeah, go do your thing. But at number 4, we have Fuses Flesh and Steel, and that got 22 votes. Let me go and type that in here, and let's go down the line and talk about their abilities. So a little description is your body is part machine. Straightforward. Tier 1, you have Enhanced Body. Your machine parts grant you +1 armor, +3 to your might pool, and +3 to your speed pool. Traditional healing skills, medicines, and technique work only half as well for you. Each time you start at full health, the first 5 points of damage you take can never be healed in these ways or recovered normally. Instead, you must use repairing skills and abilities to restore those points. For example, if you start with a full might pool of 10 and take 8 points of damage, excuse me, you can use recovery rolls to restore 3 points, but the remaining 5 points must be restored via repair tasks. This is Enabler. Tier 2 is Interface. By directly plugging into a device, you can identify and learn to operate it as though the task were one level lower. It's Enabler, always happens. Tier 3, you can choose between Sensing Package or Weaponization. So Sensing Package, you can see in dim light and darkness as if it were bright light. And you can see up to a short distance through fog, smoke, and other obscuring phenomena. In addition, if you apply a level of effort to perception or searching tasks, you get a free level of effort on that task. Enabler. Weaponization. One light or medium melee weapon of your choice is built into your body and you are trained in using it. The weapon is concealed until you wish to use it. Enabler. That's pretty cool. Tier 4, you get Fusion. Fusion, you can fuse your manifest ciphers and artifacts with your body. These fused devices function as if they were one level higher. It's pretty cool. Tier 5, you get Deep Reserves. Deep Reserves, when others are exhausted, you can push through. Once each day, you can transfer up to 5 points among your pools in any combination at a rate of 1 point per round. For example, you can transfer 3 points of might to speed and 2 points of intellect to speed, which would take a total of 5 rounds. It's an action. And then at tier 6, you can choose between Mind Surge or Ultra Enhancement. Mind Surge, in addition to your normal recovery rolls each day, you can, at any time between 10-hour rests, recover 1d6 plus 6 points to your intellect pool. Just an action. And then the other one, Ultra Enhancement, you gain +1 armor and +5 to each of your 3 stat pools. Enabler.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's actually wild. Wait, to play +5 to each of your... Holy crap.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, the suggested GM intrusions. People in most societies are afraid of someone who is revealed to have mechanical parts. This one, a lot of the stuff is enablers. Like, I feel like with this focus, you definitely want to have an action-heavy type, like ability, like what you call it. Because, again, it looks like the focus here is that you're basically a cyborg, and all the stuff is about enhancing your body or making you Again, just more enhanced.
Yeah.
You know, level tier 1, I mean, off the muscle is ridiculous. I mean, +1 to armor, +3 to your might pool, +3 to your speed pool.
It's nice.
That's beefy, you know.
Yeah, I do see what Al says though. You got your type. You have to get all your cool abilities from your type, really, because everything is an enabler ability. It's like, hey, this is built into me. You know what I
So
mean?
it is flavorfully very cool. Like again, with the sensing package, you can see in the dark. With the built-in weapon, or I guess that's from same tier. But either way, weaponization, the weapon can be built
That's
into.
cool.
Like it's all flavored very well, but none of it is like an action that you take. So
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are. I mean,
yeah, there are a
it's-
couple.
And not only that, but think like interface. You know, it's an enabler because it allows you to do it, but you would still have to make the roll, like, you know, directly plug into the device. You'd still have to make some rolls and stuff for that. The fusion is huge because, I mean, think about it. You get to plug in your artifacts and your ciphers, and they function a level higher than they already are.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's nice.
I mean, it is an enabler, but I mean, it's one of those characters that you can play and just develop in so many directions. It really reminds me of, you know, characters like Deathlock from Marvel Comics. You know, the cyborg. You know, you remember the guy he was, you know. So
You know
yeah,
what made me think when I was going through this one? I think the other ones, like when you tearing up, right? The other 6 that are on this list, every ability is cool, right? And you're like, oh man, I want to get this. But this is the first one that I'm reading that I could see how it, in the narrative, how the advancement of your tiers takes place. Because a lot of the stuff you have to add in, explain in story. Mm-hmm. So I think this is one of the first ones I was like, oh, I would love to play this because not only are the abilities cool, but I would like to role play how you tiered up. You know, because like all this, you know, everything seems to make sense in the narrative. So
because your body is definitely changing, the way you're doing things is probably changing based on these changes that are happening to your body. And yeah, definitely that is a cool aspect. You get to narrate all that. Your character's you have to actually say how your character is changing because they are changing.
What I see this as, especially like in Numenera, is like somebody waking up. I would actually play it like my character would probably be like somebody who came out of stasis, you know, doesn't have a lot of memories and is literally exploring and learning this new form that he's in. And you know, that would be so cool. Yeah, you know. Oh, real quick, from the chat, Atlas, you know, talks about using the jack with the skill that yields a +2 to level of ciphers, you know, and then added this to this character. If it was a jack, that's like +3 to the level of your ciphers.
That's crazy. Especially damage ciphers. That's crazy.
Damage ciphers, but cheese and bananas.
That's wild. Yeah, definitely a fun combo if you want to be a cipher user or an artifact user. Because I think that's a really cool aspect too. Because it does say artifacts also. And as you know, artifacts only stop being useful if you roll a depletion number. So you're just walking around with like either a cannon on your chest or like a big like something on your shoulder or something like, and it's just part of your body. You
know, what if you're playing the strange and you have like Excalibur?
That's what I mean. It's just be built into your arm. Like it's crazy.
No, Techman asked a good question. He said more like, does it keep the cipher limit? It does, right? It doesn't affect how many ciphers.
Yeah, it doesn't keep the number. It doesn't change that, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically a walking mech, and again, the limits don't change, but again, they get stronger if you put them on you. That's mad cool.
That's a deep. This is a deep focus.
Yeah,
definitely strong.
I mean, I was shocked that it was number 4 and it got 22 votes.
That is the surprising part to me.
Yeah.
It looks cool, but the fact that, again, this is one that it's kind of passive, if that makes sense. Like, everything is just buffing you in a way. Again, like Dean said, you do get interface, you do get the ability to, like, move your pools around a little bit. But again, it's, like, again, very passive. You're not, like, if you compare it to like Murderer from the other one, like you're just straight murdering targets, as opposed to what's the tier 6 for this one? You just your body is stronger.
It's like what Asilis said. This is the one of the few focus that could definitely be combined with other abilities
to make
really
crazy stuff. Yes.
If you're creative, like this is the min-max's paradise focus.
Actually,
it's pretty close to that. Yes.
I mean, in with any of the types as well. This is crazy for any of the types.
Yep.
You know, because
an adept, a techno wizard.
That's what I'm saying. An adept, I can see an adept, having like we were talking about the cannon in his chest. That's his onslaught. Now he just modifies it.
Yep.
All right, Dean, read you're next, right?
Yeah. Bears a halo of fire, 24 volts.
Number 3.
Number 3 on the list. We're in the top 3, guys. We're in the home stretch. All right, so it says here, you can. There's a halo of fire. You can sheathe your body in flames, which protects you and harms your foes. Tier 1, you get Shroud of Flame. Shroud of Flame will cost you 1 intellect point. At your command, your entire body becomes shrouded in flames and lasts up to 10 minutes. The fire doesn't burn you, but it automatically inflicts 2 points of damage to anyone who tries to touch you or strike you with a melee attack. Flames from another source can still hurt you. While the Shroud of Flames is active, you gain a +2 armor against damage from fire from any other source. It's an enabler. At tier 2, you get Hurl's Flame. While your Shroud of Flame is active, you can reach into your halo and hurl a handful of fire at a target. This is a range attack with a short range that deals 4 points of fire damage. Action. At tier 3, Wings of Fire or Fiery Hand of Doom. Wings of Fire will cost you 4 intellect points. While your Shroud of Flame is active, you can spread Wings of Fire and levitate, moving at a rate of up to 20 feet, 6 meters per round in any direction for 1 minute. You can also take one other non-movement action on your turn. And you don't have Fiery Hand of Doom listed here, Anthony.
Oh, shit. He doesn't.
Oh, it makes your hands full of fire and it brings doom upon you.
I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Let's see if you can pull it up faster.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
He forgot to list. Oh, my God.
Hey, this thing took me forever to.
No.
Dude,
just a little bit of shade, but not
understand.
too much.
we understand. Trust me. It's no big deal.
I had like 5 different PDFs open.
Alright, Fiery Hand of Doom. Alright, I got it pulled up. I'll read this one because I got it pulled up. Alright, so Fiery Hand of Doom is the other one you can choose at tier 3 for Bears a Halo of Fire. And this one costs 3 intellect points. It says, while your Shroud of Flame is active, you can reach into your halo and produce a handmade of animate flame that is twice the size of a human's hand. The hand acts as you direct, floating in the air. Directing the hand is an action. Without a command, the hand does nothing. It can move a long distance in a round, but it never moves farther away from you than long range. The hand can grab, move, and carry things, but anything it touches takes 1 point of damage per round from the heat. The hand can also attack. It is a level 3 creature and deals 1 extra point of damage from the fire when it attacks. Once created, the hand lasts for 10 minutes. Action to create, action to direct.
Nice.
I think that's the one I'd be choosing.
Yeah,
Actually,
me
no,
too.
flying is cool too. I don't know. Either way, Dean, you can go on with tier 4.
Well, tier 4 Flame Blade comes up. Flame Blade costs you 4 intellect points. When you wish it, you extend your Shroud of Flame to cover a weapon. You wield in flame for 1 hour. The flame ends if you stop holding or carrying the weapon. While the flame lasts, the weapon inflicts 2 additional points of damage. Tier 5 Fire Tendrils. Fire Tendrils cost 5 intellect points. And when you wish it, your halo from your Shroud of Flame ability sprouts 3 tendrils of flame that last up to 10 minutes. As an action, you can use the tendrils to attack, making separate attacks for each roll. Each tendril inflicts 4 points of damage. Otherwise, the attack functions as a standard attack. If you don't use the tendrils to attack, they remain but do nothing. It's an enabler. And at tier 6, there is Fire Servant or Infernal Trail. Fire Servant costs 6 intellect points, and while your Shroud of Flame is active, you reach into your halo and produce an automaton of fire. That is your general shape and size. It acts as you direct each round. Directing the servant is an action, and you can command it only when you are within long range of it. Without a command, the servant continues to follow your previous command. You can also give it simple programmed actions such as wait here and attack anyone who comes within short range until they're dead. The servant lasts for 10 minutes. It is a level 5 creature and deals 1 extra point of damage from fire when it attacks. Action to create, action to direct. Infernal Trail costs 6 intellect points. For the next minute, you leave a trail of flame in your wake. The trail matches your path and lasts for up to 1 minute, creating a wall of flame about 6 feet high, about 2 meters, that inflicts 5 points of damage to any creature that passes through it, potentially catching them on fire for an additional 1 point of damage each round if they are flammable, until they spend a round putting out the fire. It is an action. Typical GM intrusions: fire burns flammable material, fire spreads out of control, primitive creatures fear fire and often attack what they fear, so on and so forth.
All right, I'm not surprised this made the list. I am surprised that this isn't number 1. If you asked me before we started calculating, I would have thought this would have been the number 1 on the list. Not to mention the fact that it gets played all the time in every genre.
Yes.
Every time I've run a demo or I've played with strangers, there's always somebody playing Bears of Halo Pilot. This is the most commonly, and personally in my experience, the most commonly used focus. I'm shocked that it's not number 1, to be honest.
You know, it's kind of funny. It's like I said earlier, I'm not shocked that it's here. Never used it personally.
It's cool as hell.
You know, what I'm saying, it's very cool. It's just, it falls in the same category like, Employs Magnetism. I don't want to be the Human Torch. And that's literally what I thought about when I first saw it. So, but it's
I don't know. I enjoy this one a lot. Again, I haven't played it or anything, but just from reading this and listening to this, the fact that you can kind of get companions, again, that's my thing. You can get basically a fire mage hand. You can get a fire servant. That's cool as hell. Like anytime the game gives you like a little companion or like some little creature to use, I'm all about that. So I would definitely be picking those options at tier 3 and 6.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the Human Torch.
Yeah.
But it's like what Claire said. This is the very first foci that Monte ever created. So, this holds a special place in Numenera fans' hearts.
Absolutely. And like I said, and you got to think too, when you look at Numenera does have a limited list of foci. Compared to the Cypher System rulebook. So I think that may have been another thing I was looking at when I first started playing. I was playing Numenera, and I was just trying to see what was different, because it's like, I played superhero games. I played a fire user. I've got a fire user, And then, of course, the Cypher System rulebook came out, and I've actually just never revisited it. But it's definitely cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I definitely understand that. I just think that it's the most commonly used.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm really shocked that this is a number 1. Like, if you would have asked me prior to us I would have said Bears of Halo Fire. And I agree with you. I don't think I've ever played it, but I must have GM'd it at least 30 times.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. But you know what? The one that does have the number 1 slot, I'm really not surprised at that one either, though.
Actually, I don't think I've ever GM'd this one. I don't think I've ever played it or GM'd it, surprisingly. Like, I know people love it. I hear people talk about it all the time. Like, I hear people talk, like you guys mention in your games. But now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever actually firsthand, dealt with it. Interesting.
Yeah, Wings of Fire is hella cool, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Like, that would be a tough one because, again, I do, enjoy the, flame hand, but flying is always cool, too. But the cool thing, though, again, if you read it, beforehand, I would then probably choose Wings of Fire and then at tier 6 get the servant, and I still got my buddy.
Yeah. It's a dope focus, so I would definitely play it, and I can see why people love it. And like what they said, this is Monty's like first focus he ever created. So, you know, just that alone makes people want to play it.
Yeah.
So, am I gonna go to number 2? This one was shocking.
Yeah, I think this is you.
All right, so number 2 on it's Works Miracles with a total of 27 votes. I was shocked. You can heal others with a touch, alter time to help others, and are generally beloved by everyone. Your basic, you know, paladin, everything you want to be. You know, your healer, your priest. So tier 1, you get healing touch. 1 intellect point with a touch, you restore 1d6 to 1 stat pool of any creature. This ability is a difficulty 2 intellect task. Each time you attempt to heal the same creature, the task is hindered by an additional step. The difficulty returns to 2 after the creature rests for 10 hours. Action. Tier 2, you get alleviate. 3 intellect points. You can attempt to cancel or cure 1 disease or poison in 1 creature. Action. Tier 3, you get Fonta Healing or Miraculous Health. Fonta Healing, with your approval, other creatures can touch you and regain 1d6 points to either their might or speed pool. This healing costs them 2 intellect points. I love the way this ability is set up. I think it's just cool design. A single creature can benefit from this ability only once each day. Enabler. Miraculous Health, when you would descend a step on the damage track, you could attempt a might task to resist with a difficulty equal to the level of the foe that harmed you. If successful, you don't descend the step and you would gain 1 point in any pool of that bereft of points. You can't use this ability again until your next 10-hour rest. Enabler. Not sure how I feel about that ability. Yeah. I don't know. If I had a choice between the 2, I think I'll take the Fonta Healing. Yeah.
So it depends on what type of character you're playing. You know,
in tier 4, yeah. Inspire Action. 4 intellect points. If 1 ally can see and easily understand you, you can instruct that ally to take an action. If that ally chooses to take the exact action, they can do so as an additional action immediately. Doing so doesn't interfere with the ally taking a normal action of the turn. Tier 5, you have Undo, 5 intellect points. You could turn back a few seconds, effectively undoing a single creature most recent action. That creature then immediately repeat the same action or try something different. That's crazy. That's a crazy ability. Tier 6, Greater Healing Touch or Restore Life. Greater Healing Touch, 4 intellect points. You touch a creature, restore its might pool, speed pool, and intellect pool to their maximum values as if they were fully rested. A single creature can benefit from this ability only once each day. Or Restore Life, which is 9 intellect points plus. You can attempt to restore life to a dead creature of up to level 3, as long as the corpse is no more than a day old or is mostly intact. I like how they put mostly intact. You can also attempt to restore life to a corpse that's much older but is especially well preserved. The difficulty of the intellect task is equal to the level of the creature you're attempting to restore to life. For each additional level of effort applied, you can attempt to restore the life of a creature whose level is 1 higher. When first restored to life, a creature is dazed for at least a day, and all tasks they attempt are hindered. Action, 1 minute to initiate. That's actually pretty cool. And the GM intrusions or attempts to heal might cause harm instead. A community or individual needs a healer so desperately they hold you against your will. That's a good one.
Okay, so I'm going to say this about this particular program. I think it's really solid all the way around. I dig the fact that the 2 choice abilities at 3rd tier and 6th tier, the fact that, you know, the ones you have to choose from, kind of will switch the flavor of the character depending on which one you choose. You know, because I see like the font of healing as being more for the cleric, and miraculous health being more for the paladin. You know, and then at, you know, tier 6, greater healing touch, you know, definitely would be for a paladin, which is beefy for only 4 intellect points. I'm surprised it's only 4 intellect points to restore every pool to their maximum.
Yeah.
No, it says a single creature. No, it doesn't say you can only do it once a day. It says a single creature.
That's what it is.
But still, think about how beefy that is. I mean, you got a party of 4 people, and you just heal everybody. Boom, 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 boom. 12 intellect points. Now I'm gonna rest.
Especially at tier 6, if they all you're muted.
Oh, I got it. Thank you for that. My bad. I was smoking.
Especially at tier 6, where everybody has like 20 points in their pools, and they all at once like, here's 4 points. Everybody's back to normal.
Yeah, no,
yeah, he
really
spends
good.
12 points. You know, and that's what I'm saying. You think at that point he might have, let's just say, even if he only had 20 points in his intellect pool, he just dropped 16 points. He still got 4 points left. Makes a recovery roll. You know.
Not even that. It doesn't say a different creature. You could touch yourself, right?
It does not say you can touch yourself.
If one ally, you touch a creature and restore its might. It definitely doesn't say so you can heal yourself once like this per day.
No, what's that priest doing in the corner touching himself?
but it doesn't explicitly say you can't heal yourself, right? So you are a creature willing to be healed, and you can be healed by this once per day. Is how I would rule it.
No, you see what I'm saying? If you did that's just totally broken.
I don't know, but it's once per day though. That's it.
No, like, think about it. No, just think about it. You got a 5-man party. You've got 20 intellect points. You can literally heal everybody else. You touch yourself last, expending your last 4 intellect points, but you restore yourself to full.
And that's a tier 6 ability. It should feel crazy.
And you have 4 edge, like they said in chat. If you have 4
it's
edge,
free.
It's free.
Right.
Yeah, this is is wild. Cool. It's wild. It's wild good. But also you got to remember in combat, that's each turn.
You wouldn't need to bring anybody back to life if you have greater healing touch anyway.
No. I mean, like, the restored life is cool because if you find a dead NPC that you might need to interrogate, or like a dead person who was around for a crime, you can raise them and talk to them about it. Like, but greater healing touch is insane. That's actually insane.
Insanity. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, Inspire, I think the one that caught me the most was Undo. Undo is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Well.
That is surprising to see in like a healer type, like instead of like, the fact that you have some control over time. I view it
as like, praying to your god, like if you're flavoring it as a priest or a healer, like in a fantasy setting, you pray to your god to rewind the action of one person.
Right.
And then what I really like about it is that they can either repeat the same action or try something different. So it's offense and defense. Like if you have somebody that does something really stupid in your party,
he's like, wait a second, buddy.
Let's think to this through.
I think the whole thing is kind of crazy. I mean, look at Inspire Action. Yeah. You literally just give somebody a whole free act, go ahead, get in there. And it doesn't count, just do something. No. Basically you go, hey, it'd really be a good idea if you chop that guy's head off.
No, I'm picturing like the way a funny way. I don't know why it popped into my head before we continue. With Undo, you could have someone in your party or even yourself, or I guess not yourself because you have to be alive to cast it. They'll be like the trap tester, like go touch that, see if it's okay, and they go and touch it and kills them. You bring them like rewind time, like oh wait, it's fine, and they're just constantly experiencing death. You just really rewind them like, no, Undo, you're fine.
Oh, yo, we gotta do that party, we'll do it like a duo, like, you know, like the test dummy with the guy with the undo ability.
He's gonna be so traumatized. Like, I don't want it. I don't want any loot. It's okay. We don't have to touch the treasure chest.
Yeah.
We needed that power when we played D&D for our road. What's his name? Exo.
Oh damn! Rip to him.
Oh man.
But I think we could move on to the last one here. Or
Hold on, I'm not sure if that'll work. Would it bring a character back to life?
it says, oh well, no, it says it undoes, right? It undoes, right? It undoes the last action.
It says you turn back time a few seconds, effectively undoing a single creature's most recent action.
If their one action was to open a chest and then die, you would rewind them to being alive.
That would only work, yeah.
Like, it's just in that one instance, like, they're just the trap. If the trap happens to kill them, you can rewind them. They didn't ever check the trap. I mean, that's how I see it. I don't know.
Me too. I'm with you.
But overall, I was shocked this made number 2 on the list, but it's I could see why this made the list. This is one of the other ones that applies multiple settings. I really like, you know, of course it hits Numenera, but I think it hits pretty much every one of the settings, you know, that Monte Cook Games makes. This is one that I definitely see in any of the fantasy games. It makes every one of, you know, Godforsaken, Tolless, Gods of the Fall. You could play this in all 3 of those.
And just to throw this out there, just because we're talking about undo and whatnot, that one ability, because you were talking about settings and whatnot, I was thinking of, like, what if you're playing like a field medic, like in a realistic setting? Like, undo wouldn't really make much sense. But if you flavor it right, your medic had like a flash or a vision of something that happened in the future or something like that. But either
I view it differently. You know, undo is the electric shock you put on somebody's chest, bring them back to life.
No, but like, either way, we don't have to go.
No, I see. We could talk about tons of ways to flavor it. I mean, Al's works, Anthony, yours works. I mean,
it's definitely a weird one in a real life setting. But either way, anything else to say before we move on?
And honestly, it really wouldn't necessarily be that too weird, Al. I mean, like you said, it could be strange, but like he said, defibrillator, adrenaline shot, whatever, how you flavor it, you know.
Oh, before we move on, I will say that I'm not surprised at all that it's this high on the list. Again, if anybody wanted to play cleric, paladin, the healer type, this is your go-to. And a lot of people who play role-playing games do like to fill that niche role or whatever. Like, they'll fill roles, and if they see the healer role is unoccupied or whatever, this is like a go-to.
And Al, I have to say too, you know, because of you, I want to play this. Actually, I want to play this particular focus only because of how you reflavored it to make the anti-paladin.
Oh, you know? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So just this is actually a cool little story before we move on to number 1. And I'll make this the last side story before we move on to number 1. In my home game, we had a paladin who was using Works Miracles, but he was doing very morally gray stuff, like in dedication to his god or whatever. But long story short, he ends up killing a guard and he loses his faith or whatever. So I reflavored it, like he lost his way and now he's like the Dark Knight. And I think I named it, damn, what did I call it? Oh, it's like, manipulates malice instead of works miracles. He manipulates malice. And basically I took each ability and made it do the opposite. So healing was damage and so on and so forth. And it was super fun. That was just cool.
And it's really cool. And we need to get that focus and put it in something so the rest of the world can see it.
It's definitely awesome. But yeah, let's move on.
Oh, number 1, drum roll.
This is the worst drum roll ever. Number 1, as voted by everybody or people in the CU community, is Rides the Lightning. And that got 29 votes. Let me just type it in the chat real fast. 29 votes. Number 1. Not surprising, but either way, we'll talk about that in a second. And a little brief description is you create and discharge electrical power. Very straightforward. So tier 1, you get shock. The shock costs 1 intellect point. Your hands crackle with electricity, and the next time you touch a creature, you inflict 3 points of damage. Alternatively, if you wield the weapon for 10 minutes, it crackles with electricity and inflicts 1 additional point of damage per attack. Action for touch, enabler for weapon. You also get Charge at Tier 1, and Charge costs 1 plus intellect point. You can charge an artifact or other device except the Cypher so that it can be used once. The cost is 1 intellect point plus 1 point per level of the device. Pretty nice. At Tier 2, you get Bolt Rider. Bolt Rider costs 4 intellect points. You can move a long distance from one location to another almost instantaneously, carried by a bolt of lightning. You must be able to see the new location and there must be no intervening barriers. Action. At Tier 3, you can choose between Electric Armor or Drain Charge. Electric Armor costs 4 intellect points. When you wish it, electricity crackles across your body for 10 minutes, granting you 1 armor. While electrified, you have an additional +2 armor versus electrical damage specifically, and you inflict 2 points of damage on any creature that touches you or attacks you with a melee weapon that conducts electricity. Enabler. And the other one is Drain Charge. You can drain the power from an artifact or device, allowing you to regain 1 intellect point per level drained. You regain points at a rate of 1 point per round and must give your full concentration to the process each round. The GM determines whether the device is fully drained, likely true of most handheld or smaller devices, or retains some power, likely true of larger machines. It's an action to initiate and action each round to drain. At Tier 4, you get Bolts of Power. Bolts of Power cost 5 plus intellect points. You blast a fan of lightning out to short range in an arc that is approximately 50 feet or 15 meters wide at the end. This discharge inflicts 4 points of damage. If you apply effort to increase the damage rather than to ease the task, you deal 2 additional points of damage per level of effort instead of 3 points. Targets in the area take 1 point of damage even if you fail the attack roll. Action. Tier 5, you get Electrical Flight. Electrical Flight costs 5 intellect points. You exude an aura of crackling electricity that lets you fly a long distance each round for 10 minutes. You can't carry other creatures with you. Action to activate. At Tier 6, you can choose between Flash Across the Miles or Wall of Lightning. Flash Across the Miles costs 6 plus intellect points. You can move to an open location on the planet that you're familiar with sorry. Just a verbiage. But you can move to an open location on the planet that you're familiar with almost instantaneously transformed into a bolt of lightning. If you apply a level of effort, you can attempt to penetrate covered locations that you're aware of as long as a route exists from the open air to the area you want to reach that electricity can easily flow. Action. And then the last one is the other choice would be Wall of Lightning, which costs 6 intellect points. You create a barrier of crackling electricity up to 2,500 square feet or 230 square miles or meters? I don't know what the M stands for here. Either way, square meters. It's talking about feet. I'm an idiot. In size, shaped as you wish. The wall is a level 7 barrier. Anyone within immediate distance of the wall automatically takes 10 points of damage. The wall lasts for 1 hour. Action to create. And some examples for GM intrusions: targets other than those intended are shocked, an object explodes because of the electricity, so on and so forth. Yeah, definitely makes sense that this is in the top 5. I'm surprised it's number 1 though. Very surprised. It's cool as hell. You heard me laugh. You could basically teleport around the world at Tier 6. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, this is a really powerful focus. Like,
I'm not surprised.
I'm surprised that it's number 1. I'm not surprised that it's on the list.
As well.
I mean, like I said, just like you're talking about Bears and Halo of Fire, this has been the one that I've encountered the most. I've encountered Rise the Lightning so much, especially in the last couple of years, because the big thing with Marvel Comics, everybody wanted to play a Thor-like character. This focus has been huge, and yeah, that flash across the miles is sick.
Just teleport anywhere. It's just an open location on the planet.
I only put in chat Pikachu. Pikachu.
Or it could also be like Static Shock, like.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but none of those guys. I mean, there was a character in the comic books called Vindicator that Anthony might remember from Alpha Flight,
Yeah.
and he could do something similar. What he could actually do was make himself stop in relation to the rotation of the Earth and teleport to spots because the Earth moves at like, spins at like 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles per hour or something ridiculous, and he could move to spots on Earth like that. But this is just crazy.
Wild.
And wall of lightning.
Oh yeah, no,
in immediate distance. Did he say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediate.
If you're
distance.
next to it, you take 10 damage immediately.
So basically,
I see like flash across the miles is like showing up at a Wendy's 5 seconds before they close. Like, hey, wait a minute, I was here online all the time.
No, there's definitely a lot of fun stuff you can do with both the choices at tier 6. The Wall of Lightning, if you're like combat focused instead of being all over the place, 10 damage just to end everything that's within, 2,500 square feet? That's wild. It's like a whole army, like they're all taking 10 damage. Like,
I will say this though, everything seems combat focused. Like except for drain charge. Everything seems combat.
Electrical flight isn't focused. Bolt rider isn't combat focused.
it's either movement or combat. It's movement combat, basically.
It seems like,
Which is nice.
But
I can see why it's popular. You get a lot of cool movement stuff. You can flavor that very neatly, and then people like combat.
So we have our top 10 lists. We'll do a quick rundown of the top 10 lists again, and then we'll do our final thoughts before we close out. So number 10 on our top 10 list was Master's Weaponry. Then with number 9, we went to Exist Partially Out of Phase. Then at number 8, we went to Talks to Machines. Number 7, we went to Entertains. Number 6, Needs No Weapons. Number 5 was Employs Magnetism. Number 4 was, I'm scrolling down, Fuse Flesh and Steel. Number 3 was Bears a Halo of Fire. Number 2 was
Works Miracles.
And number 1 with 29 votes, the most commonly played or favorite foci is Rides the Lightning. So what do you guys think of this top 10 list? Is it a list you would agree with? Is it a list that you would want to play any of these stuff? And I'll ask the guys here, what's your first impression of the top 10 list?
So for me, I was really shocked. I mean, overall, I was shocked at what we got. Now, once we went through it, not surprised at all. Everything that came across or, was brought to the forefront about these different foci make a lot of sense. And especially what I dig about them is especially if they were going to be used in a full campaign. One shots, whatever. But in a full campaign, all of them have nice things that you can be built into the narrative, especially like we're talking about fuses flesh and steel.
What surprised you the most, Al?
So just like when you first introduced the list to us, a few of the choices were a few of the picks were surprising. Like, let me look at the list again. Top 5 wasn't. Oh, Fuses Flesh and Steel. I'm surprised that was up there, especially so high. Because again, as I discussed it when it came up, it's more of a you're buffing your body to be you have more stats, you can do things a little, it's weird. You don't get anything that's really actionable, if that makes sense. Again, you can interface with things, whatever, but it's more of a body buff. So I find that weird because in my mind, I would use this to accentuate a type setup that I really like, that I'm so in this situation, the fact that it's so high, it's kind of weird to me because I think the favorite part would be the stuff you're doing with the type when you're picking that foci. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the stuff you're getting from this focus, it's the stuff that it's allowing you to do with the type. That was honestly the most surprising thing for me.
I think the most surprising thing for me was what finished number one.
Yes.
I would have never guessed Rise the Lightning would have been the number one. Like, I mean, it makes sense now in hindsight because I think like 8 out of the 10 were all commonly used Numenera focus, so it kind of makes sense. But at the time, that was really surprising to me. I honestly thought Bears of Halo Fire would have been number one just because I've encountered it the most. So, out of the top 10, how many have you played?
3.
I think for me it's only. Well, are we counting honorable mentions? Because honorable mentions, I played 2 of those.
The honorable mention.
But as far as the actual top 10, I think I've only ever played 1 of them, which is Works Miracles.
I'm with Dean. I played 3 out of the 10.
I've never played Entertained, which would have been one I think I might have not. Yeah, it definitely has. Oh wait, no, I have played. I think Exist Partially Out of Phase once. I think. I don't know. But yeah,
You
those
never
2.
played? Didn't you play Fuse's Flesh with Steel in the Sky High game?
I don't think so. I don't remember, but I could be wrong. But I don't. Again, if I did choose it, it was to accentuate the stuff I was doing with my type. But
Yeah.
again, I don't recall choosing it, so I don't know.
I played 3. I played Needs No Weapons. I played Works Miracles. And what was the other one? Let me look at the list again.
Yeah, I played Rise the Lightning, Needs No Weapon, and Master's Weaponry. Those are the 3 I played.
Mr. Combat over
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I played Master's Weaponry as well. That was the 3rd one.
Well,
And
of course, it's a comic book thing, Al.
Yeah. And I'm going to be playing Deploys Magnetism tomorrow, so it'll be 4 for me. So the last question I asked is, which of the foci that you haven't played are you willing to play now from this top 10 list?
Bears of Halo Fire. Just because you get the like the Fire Hand and the Fire Servant. Like again, when I make characters or whatever, I don't. It's mostly for one shots, and the one shots are usually tier 1 or 2. Like I hardly ever do one shots that are 3 or higher. So I honestly don't know much of the tier 3 or higher abilities. So I just learned something new today. They can make a Fire Hand. They can make a Fire Buddy. That sounds cool as hell.
How about you, Dean?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say we really do need to get a campaign, something that long term, guys. We got to stop the one shot madness. No, we don't have to stop the one shot madness. We just have to add to it. But for me, actually, believe it or not, now I really want to play Talks to Machines and Fuses Flesh and Steel. Both of those kind of screamed at me. I kind of wish I had created that character for Claire's game instead of the one I created. But what I created is going to be great anyway. But yeah, those 2 really made me go, yeah, I can see some stuff happening there, you know.
For me, I think it exists partially out of phase.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
surprised I've never actually played that one, but that one looks really cool.
Oh yeah, that would be like you said, that would be sick.
Yeah.
It was definitely cool.
Like, I can see a lot of combos you could do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about being able to talk to the machines and interface, and the fact that like Al said, I'm kind of digging the idea that I get to make my own companion and all that kind of stuff.
I just love companions, man. Anytime like any mechanic is introduced where it's like, hey, you get a little buddy, or you get a couple of buddies that follow you around, they do what you say, they help you out, they're flavorful. I love it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think all 10, everything on this list is something I would try to play.
Oh no, for sure.
Like I said, I mean, overall, but like if I had to pick
one,
those would be probably the first 2 I go to. But actually, I'm gonna make it a point to try to play all of the focus in the top 10 now. I mean, I've already played 3 of them, and I'm gonna try to play all of them, even the honorable mentions that I haven't encountered. So
yeah, I want to see Dean play Doesn't Do Much. Dean doesn't seem like a doesn't do much type of.
Yeah, that's actually that's gonna be fun. Al gave me inspiration the time he played Doesn't Do Much in my game.
It's awesome. It's such a good focus. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, Doesn't Do Much is a good, especially a higher tier. It gets better.
Again, I only know tier 1 and 2. Oh, but this is a great talk.
All right, I think this pretty much wraps up our top 10 list.
Yeah, pretty good.
If you like Cypher Unlimited and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord. We have the largest fan-run Discord server for all things Monte Cook Games. We got games being played every day, discussions about games every day. Every setting, genre, anything Monte Cook Games makes, there's the place to talk about it. So please join. We got almost 4,000 members. Please go over there and join. If Discord's not for you, join our Facebook group. You could join our Facebook group. It's not as big as our Discord, but we still have all sorts of discussions happening there. So, you're more than welcome to join us there. Or how about this? Give us a little donation on Ko-fi. All our videos will always be free on YouTube and on Twitch, but every little thing helps. It helps out with little things like Zoom course. Give us a follow or subscribe here on Twitch. We'll greatly appreciate it. Or go to our YouTube channel and give us a like, share, and follow there. We really appreciate it. We're trying to bring up our YouTube numbers up there. So, please go over there and, give us a subscribe there. Like our videos. Leave a message there. Tell us you hate us. Tell us you love us. It doesn't matter. Go to our online store. Get this cool Cypher Unlimited merch like me and Dean got on. We got hats, shirts, mugs, all sorts of cool stuff. You want to be the cool kid on the block, pick up some Cypher Unlimited merch. Am I missing anything, guys? I don't think so.
No,
Am I missing?
I think you got it all.
I think that's good.
Last but not least, we love you guys.
Before we go, real quick, Techman, you asked a question real quick, and I know it kind of goes. You said you asked for the speaker's ability with speaks with a silver tongue would even work with works to back alleys. That works phenomenally in work to back alleys because of the simple fact you're doing underhanded deals, you're doing back alley operations, and so on and so forth. So if you're talking to a guy on the black market, you might have to convince him that he wants to give it to you at such a cool cost or whatever the case may be. That's an easy way to speaks with a silver tongue to be used in works to back alleys.
Techman, just to answer the question, I'm almost 100% positive work the back alleys had at least 2 votes. It might have had 3. And I'm not sure if Speaks with a Silver Tongue got any votes. I got to check. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say no. Well, I know for a fact that works the back alleys had at least 2 or 3 votes.
No, and I think what he was asking was Speaks with a Silver Tongue. Isn't that an ability in works to back alleys? Work to back alleys?
Well, we're getting mega sidetracked here. I'm pretty sure he was asking about the ranking, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
But either way, thank you guys so much for stopping by. This has been a blast. Thank you again for everyone who submitted your top 5. It helped us a ton with this. It's overall fun. I definitely learned some new stuff about these abilities and these focus I didn't know before. Hopefully y'all learned something new too about focus you haven't seen or played much before. And hopefully encourage you to try some new stuff out.
Also, just remind them about tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say tomorrow we'll be on the Infinite Constructs Twitch channel at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be playing in Claire's one-shot. I'm blanking on the name now. I know they just posted.
Speed, heat, pain, darkness.
Thank you for that, Infinite Construct. Yes, the link is down below. Definitely go check that out. Go follow so you can check us out playing tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely you don't want to miss that stuff. Yeah, pain. What is it? Speed, heat, pain, darkness. There
exactly. Yes. I think that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about this one.
Same. I'm pretty hyped. It's gonna be fun.
Not only is Claire awesome GM, just to play with the 3 of you guys, and we always have a great time when we play together. So this is gonna be super exciting.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So be sure to check it out. That's about it. Thank you guys so much. We love you. And as usual, from us at the CU, we will see you later.
See you later.